This is some big piles of media from over the years here at Kirkwood. These shots right here are of John Copeland, Andrew Boucher, Carolyn Reuter. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of history right here on this table. I've spent nights on both sides of that gate. I've been shut down just like everybody. Those gates can be the best thing and they can be the worst thing about this resort, depending on what side of them you're on. You have to earn Kirkwood. It's not a given. The bottom line is, if you want one of those country club days where the roads are closed with the resort to yourself and you know how to ride Kirkwood, it happens.
The thing I love the most about Kirkwood is nature's in charge. No matter how much money you have, how successful you are, sooner or later you're going to have to shovel. You're going to get stuck in the snowbank somewhere. And it's like, yeah, it keeps you humble.
Miles south of Lake Tahoe, in California's High Sierra, lies one of Western skiing's best-kept secrets.
Kirkwood's just a very special place that once people get here, they love it and will survive the worst roads because they want to be here.
Driving Highway 88 in storms is like the Kessel Run in the Millennium Falcon. It just snows.
It literally snowed 1.5 feet at night, 1.5 feet during the day, 1.5 feet at night for 4 days.
You couldn't keep up with the snow.
Caltrans would call and say, we're going to close.
At one point it was closed 7 days in either direction, no one in, no one out.
And it was just off the charts. The snow is just out of sight.
It's not a suburban ski area. It's very rugged.
There's no other glaciated surface like this around this area in such a size.
It's a completely different look, it's a completely different feel. Definitely left an impression.
Every lift ride you hear, that was the best run of my life, and then you get on the lift again, you're like, that was the best run of my life. It's so special and unique that way.
That's Kirkwood. Miles of unbroken trails and magnificent High Sierra scenery just waiting for you.
You make that turn into Kirkwood, you look up at the buttress, you see Glove Rock. It's that sense of arrival. You're home. You ready? 3, 2, 1. 88, you gotta be passionate to drive here. You have to want to be here. You gotta be hardy. You gotta have that, I'm gonna wake up in the morning and I'm gonna drive over Luther and I'm gonna go over the Carson Pass to get to Kirkwood Mountain Resort. That takes a very special individual.
I shouldn't say it on film, but we ran the place. I can remember one night, the full moon, and we turned the lift on and went skiing. It was pretty rude, but it was great. We did a lot of things on the hill, and I was a ski patrolman. I was at the time of my life. I came to Kirkwood in 1972. I was tired of that city life, and so I rode up here on my motorcycle. I wanted to meet the man who did the hiring, and they said it was Dick Reuter.
I first saw Dick down on Hay Flat. Dick walked in with Bud Klein, Yannick Kaczynski, and Al Beaton.
All of a sudden, in come this giant man, smelt like a 55-gallon barrel of diesel. Here's a guy that I'd really like to work for. This is a guy that gets down in the ditch and does it with you. He looked like Paul Bunyan.
An unparalleled hard worker, practically a myth. And he told the best stories.
You would hear these stories. This man drove a bulldozer during the World War II in the Normandy landing. He'd been knocked off of a lift tower in Squaw Valley. He had been in some big avalanches, but he survived.
Reuter was the real deal. I mean, in the history books at Squaw Valley, in the history books here at Kirkwood Mountain Resort, he did what he said, and he always followed through with purpose.
Very strong-minded, and you would always accomplish what he asked you to do in a timely, professional manner.
He did it with his team, whether it was avalanche control, whether it was limited tree, whether it was getting up on top of a frozen lift tower and knocking ice off the shivs.
There was nothing that he would ask you to do that he wouldn't do himself. He got the last ounce out of you because you respected and loved the man so much. You'd do anything he'd ask you to do. He was an incredible man with an incredible background. He was our hero.
He accepted me for who I was. Wasn't a mountain man. Didn't have the salt that he had. Didn't have the experience on the mountain. I was just a passionate rider. It's not a day I don't miss him. I'm gonna stop.
Take as long as you need.
If I could say anything about Dick Reuter, I only wish that I could be like him. Coop built the place. It was the vision of Bud Klein that brought Kirkwood. And it wasn't like Tahoe. Tahoe's beautiful. This is a different zone. Monty had been flying over and really started to see the historical snowfall come to Kirkwood. He thought it was the perfect place to build that ski resort.
There was 27 feet of snow on the mountain. My dad goes, plenty of snow. Once you saw it, that was it. That's where the area had to be.
Dick was the mountain manager over at Squaw Valley. He had to tell the family, hey, we're moving out of Squaw, we're coming to Kirkwood. No water, no power.
There wasn't very many people here, not a lot of employees because there's only about 3 lifts going then.
Back then it was a dirt road. It'd be dusty and potholes and bouncing around. I met a guy named John Carnell. He walked me to where we could look up the lift line of Chair 1 and he said, yeah, see that line right there? That's what we just finished cutting. That was my first view of Kirkwood, April of '72.
Bud Klein wanted to create a ski community for families to come from the Bay Area, Sacramento, and Stockton.
This was where families would come in those days and have a picnic rather than, nowadays where you see in a lodge and all this crowd. They didn't do that. They went out here on the hill with their picnics and all of that. So you get really to get to these people.
People loved it. There's a list of people that built this mountain, and each and every one of them sacrificed a lot to come up here and make this iconic place. There was a lot of history before Kirkwood was Kirkwood.
Zachary Kirkwood, who built the Kirkwood Inn, he had people from Amador County, Carson Valley, coming up here to spend the summer. They had all kinds of games going on all the time. They had cattle, dairy barn. It was pretty self-sufficient. All those things kind of created a resort before there was the Kirkwood Resort.
We had a rodeo every year. All of us would participate in this rodeo.
The Benny Brown Rodeo, I did that a couple times. That was the great event.
The rodeo was in the corral and throw in your $5.
You did it 1 year, right?
Yeah, 2 years. I got my money back 1 year.
One of the things that's special about Kirkwood was just the community, the people who lived here.
Most of the people that you worked for lived here, and then you socialize with them, including management.
You build a bond, right? Your coworkers become like family, like the closest friends you could imagine.
They wanted to have a community where families could come, their kids could go to school, and then they could recreate in this iconic place.
People really started building a family here. Babies were born here.
There were 5 kids born within 2-3 months of one another. Having that many families and that many families that had small children at a certain age helped establish a semblance of a real community. I think that was the most fun time Kirkwood had.
Kirkwood is a unique skiing and resort experience for the entire family because of its people, its facilities, and the natural beauty of Kirkwood itself.
The good stuff is all the natural things. The people and our natural snow and topography. It's just really a special area.
One thing about Kirkwood Mountain Resort, Dick Reuter said this to me often. It's not about the concessionaire, it's all about the mountain. And that's what this place is. How you can bond with nature at Kirkwood, that's what's so special about this place.
I think all of us that work at Kirkwood want it to be available for our families, our guests, our homeowners in future years. So yes, we're definitely concerned about the environment and being sustainable in what we do and leaving as small of a footprint as we can.
I think people love Kirkwood so much and they really care about it. They want to give back and make it as presentable as possible. A huge part of that is just cleaning up after ourselves.
We just want to continue to do this and prepare this mountain for the future and steward it forward for future generations.
It's a big responsibility that we have to pass it on. If we're not careful with the sport and we don't pass it on to the next generation, we won't have it for the next generation.
It's cool that there's still the new families coming in are interested in the culture and how did Kirkwood get here. You can't beat the mountain, the magic behind it.
We call it the neighborhood. That's the feeling that I get when I come back to Kirkwood. It's home for me.
It'll always be my home, even though I'm not living here now, and it's been such a good time celebrating the lifestyle in the mountains with all my friends here.
I think of Kirkwood as my home, but also it's the home of my heart.
Kirkwood is an amazing place. It's been part of my life for more than half my life now. I think of people that I've met here as my extended family.
Kirkwood has my heart and soul. Got married here, raised my kids skiing on the hill here. The family connection, all the friends that I've made here over the years.
It's just a family. You connect with them and it's like seeing old friends again.
It didn't matter who you were or what your last name was. Kirkwood was a family.
It's the people, it's beautiful, just the sheer amount of open space in this area that you can recreate on no matter what season it is.
Being able to share that with the next generation and making sure that we're conscious of, the beauty that this valley offers. When your children are able to experience that, they're going to want to pass that on to their children.
Why do I come back to Kirkwood? Because I love it. This is my family. I'll be here again this year. I'm gonna be just like Dick, 89 years old, skiing. There's nothing like being here early morning after a big duck dump and just hearing the mountains wake up. That's the sound of avalanche, right? That's the sound of the ski patrol out running their routes. To hear the howitzer, it's Mother Nature's playground in Tahoe.
No matter what happens in the valley, the mountain doesn't change. And ultimately, that's what we're all here for.
I still identify as a skier like I did when I first got on skis as a kid and had that feeling of wind in the face and sliding down a hill.
People come all the way back to 1972 because they just remember being here as one of the best times of their life.
I still come back because Kirkwood the mountain is still here. It's a magical place and I think it'll be magical forever. The mountain doesn't change, but it'll always be magical.
It's the love of this mountain right in here, the team, and the whole amazing crew we have here at Kirkwood Mountain Resort. And thank you.
I'm a better person and a better skier as a result of it. I made some lifelong friends who I'm still around now. I'm just thankful that I had the opportunity to be here and do that thing with these people. I would say it's one of the milestones in my life. I got a lifetime experience.
Above all, Kirkwood's waiting for you.